Your ability to stop and steer all comes down to 4 small patches of rubber, each about the size of your hand, where your tires touch the road. If you want to control your vehicle, it's crucial to understand what happens to your tires' contact patches while you drive. When you brake or decelerate, for example, the weight of your vehicle shifts forward. You can see this happen when you brake abruptly and your hood seems to take a dive. This puts more weight on your front tires, pushing them into the ground, making your front contact patches larger. The larger the front contact patches are, the more control you have over your steering, as long as your rear wheels don't lose traction. Imagine a car filled with water. When you brake, visualize where the water is going to slosh. That's where your weight will shift. We teach drivers to use their contact patches to control skids on the skid pad at Willow Springs International Raceway. We don't recommend trying this outside of class because you need a professional instructor and a controlled empty space to do this safely.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to roll on out there and we're going to experience weight transfer of the car. As we accelerate, the weight of the car goes to the back of the car, and the patches, the contact patches, grow in the back and they get smaller in the front. So that means we're putting all the weight in the back. As we decelerate, we're throwing the weight to the front of the car. As we put the weight in the front of the car, the contact patches grow, so we regain our steering. So we're going to experience that as we go through the acceleration and deceleration on the skid pad. Okay, let's roll out and do that.
When you feel your front tires losing traction, let up on your accelerator or gently apply your brakes just enough to regain traction. You want your speed adjustments to be gentle and smooth. As the weight transfers to the rear of the car, it loses front wheel traction and the front of the car skids out. While most drivers tend to slam on their brakes, this could accentuate the skid. Instead, you should regain control by simply easing up on the accelerator or braking gently. This transfers weight smoothly back to the front, enlarging the contact patches to regain steering control. On the dry skid pad, we learn to regain control when the front tires lose traction. On the wet skid pad, we teach drivers what it feels like to fishtail or lose rear end traction, and then to regain control. Again, please don't try this at home.
Okay, so with this exercise, what we're going to do is we're actually going to induce some rather impressive oversteer. Oversteer means that we've got all the weight on the front of the car and we have nothing on the back of the car, so it's going to cause the car to slide out.
Just as you would with a front wheel skid, when you feel your rear tires losing traction, you want your speed adjustments and steering adjustments to be gentle and smooth so that when you regain traction, you also regain control. Oversteering or braking too hard can simply reverse the direction of the skid instead of controlling it.
That was a lot of spin, wasn't it? Okay, so a lot happened at a very slow speed, right? Okay. Remember, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Turning your steering wheel too far before you regain traction will result in your car turning too far when your traction returns. When your car is out of control, be sure to steer where you want to go and no further. It's very important that you look in the direction that you want your car to go and then steer toward that point. Don't overreact by turning your wheel too far. Controlling your car depends a great deal on having time to react to traffic or road conditions or hazards. And the key to doing this is looking ahead. But how do you watch where you're driving and look ahead at the same time? The slalom exercise is one way we help drivers learn to do this.
When we do this exercise, we're focusing on what? We're focusing on the big picture. We're not looking at that car that we've been sitting there tailgating. We're looking at 10, 15 cars ahead of it. We're looking at all the cars in the other lanes. This exercise gives us the control over our vehicle by looking at the big picture. We're actually maneuvering around cones without even looking at them. You see them through your peripheral, but you don't actually see them by looking at them as they go by, because you don't want to focus on just the one object. So we're teaching you how to focus down the road, which is going to save you from many, many accidents. Because if you can see what's happening 10, 15 cars ahead of you, you can already be out of the throttle, you can already be moving to another lane of safety, or doing whatever you need to do to not put yourself in harm's way. If you're focusing on just that car directly in front of you, all you see is that car in front of you. Similarly to that lesson we looked at with our hands in front. You look at your hand, all you see is your hand. You don't see much of anything else. But if you look through your hand, you still see your hand moving. That's the car in front of you, right? You can see that car moving, but you're looking at 10 or 15 cars ahead. That's how it's going to save you from accidents. Okay? One more time, a little bit more aggressive. Have fun. Very nice, very nice.